multinational companies. In the future, people will be expecting you to speak more than one language in order to successfully compete in the workplace. Now let's look, quick test. How many, raise your hand, how many here speak more than one language? Very good, hallelujah. And if you really look at it, the ones that raise their hand are, you know, I'm just going to say, I was born here, right here. I cannot speak. I tried. I took some French. Parlez-vous français? That's all I know. Je m'appelle Kennedy. The point is, we have to start preparing ourselves. First of all, the world is already doing it. I'm telling you, the world is doing it. The church, we are slipping, we are losing our place. As CP said earlier, those schools, those that we know as top schools in the country, they were Christian schools. They started out, and it kicked the Lord away. I'm just being honest. It's not important to talk about that no more. And because of that, we are losing our position. Salt and light. In fact, Jesus himself learned. One of the only things that we know of his childhood is that he grew in wisdom as he grew in stature. Luke 2:52. That is, the Son of God volunteered himself and put himself in a position where he needed to assimilate knowledge as a man. Education was part of the process. Yes, most every one of us are followers of Christ Jesus. But we need some education. Now, I'm going to go later in my presentation. I'm going to explain to you what education is, because most of you immediately think, wow, I ain't going back to school to get this doctorate and that. Let me tell you something really quick. God has an amazing sense of humor. I'm going to talk about me. I can talk about Kenneth Briscoe. Yes, I have 4 degrees. Now, well, ask any of my teachers. Ask my supervisors. And some say they've been, I just wouldn't claim that to myself. I didn't want to say I'm dyslexic. I didn't want to say I had a problem. But every time they would say, you're writing. You know, when I got my doctorate, the dean of the school was so upset when he read, what is this? I had to tell him, I'm sorry. I've taken so many classes and so many, no matter what I do, it just doesn't work out. How I get by, I have a tendency to just kind of make a template. I make that template, I know that template is right, hey, I'm good to go. So it's not about the degrees, but education is important. You are the salt of the earth and light of the world. Salt contains a stable chemical called sodium chloride and will not lose its saltiness. That thing is so steady, it's impossible to break it up. But Jesus said, if you lose your salt, your flavor, you're good for nothing. But so you read this, the chemists and all of them said, well, no, that compound can't be broken down. So I kept checking, and I found out how it can be broken down. It can be broken down by rainwater, water hitting it. And so by that water hitting it, it loses, it's not worth anything. There's no more, it doesn't have flavor anymore. The light, the science of vision and light. To put it simply, light is power that can be seen. Visible light is a small part of the large part of what we call electromagnetic spectrum, which contains all the energy types that travels through space in a wave-like manner. How your children will take their flavor and impact a generation. I have up here lost saltiness Salt contains, now again, sodium chloride. It will not lose its saltiness even after it's stored in a dry place. But again, the water will allow it to lose it. So, how will our children maintain their saltiness? By us not watering down the word, not watering down the education, not watering down the truth. They can hold on to their saltiness. How your children will keep their flavor and impact a generation. Remember salt and light. So what's darkness? It is a result of light being blocked. He said, well, how's that? You ever, at night, when we see the night, it's not the sun. The sun didn't go anywhere. A planet just blocked the sun. So light, darkness is a result of light being blocked. Darkness is a result of, like, for instance, that shadow. Now you walk in the shadow, and in shade I'm talking about. In shade, that shadow. Again, light is being blocked. Evil blocks God's goodness. So we help and train our children to be light. The light is Christ. He is the light of the world. We are his goodness. He created us as a reflection. So light actually is a reflection. We being the light, so that's why we can't be hidden. He expects us to be who he created us to be. Light. We teach our children not to run from darkness. You know, we all been afraid we run, but what happens when you run from darkness? You're just inviting more darkness. We are the light. When light, if we turn that all this, what will happen? Darkness come. But the moment the light is on, it's gone. The word said, resist the devil, and he will what? Because the devil is darkness, and we are light. Resist that fool. 3 types of education, and I won't read all of it. Number 1 is informal education. Number 2 is formal education, and number 3 is non-formal education. And informal basically is practical adult learning, diverse methods and concepts of mobilized local resources built on a learner's participation. Formal education is basically that full-time proper subject where you're striving to get a degree, a certificate. And the non-formal education is kind of a long process. It's learning from experience, learning from home, learning from your environment or your workplace. So we still need to learn. We are uniquely and wonderfully made. Education is a gradual process which brings positive change. It is a process of acquiring knowledge through study or imparting of knowledge. And number 3, education is the main thing that encourages us to distinguish between right and wrong. So, if we don't teach our children to follow Christ, the world will teach them not to. Remember, you may be the only Bible that others see. Are you ready to hear more how we plan to equip your children for the future? Are you?
Yes. Yes.
I see y'all nodding, but that's okay. I can wake you up. As Dr. Reagan, if you come back.
Thank you, Dr. Kenneth. All right. For our next speaker.